Welcome back to the channel. Today's journey is part of the Feminine Blueprint, where we explore how women build themselves quietly, intentionally, and without urgency. This isn't about starting over, it's about becoming more aligned. Access is the real currency. See, when people talk about power, they usually talk about money. And when people talk about influence, they usually talk about visibility. And when they talk about value, they talk about productivity. But none of those are the real currency. The real currency is access. Access to your time, access to your energy, to your emotional labor, to your body, your mind, your attention, your intuition. Money is actually an output. Influence is an effect. Visibility is a byproduct. But access, that's the gate. And in the feminine blueprint, whoever controls access controls the entire system. See, most women were never taught this. They were taught to be available, to be accommodating, to be responsive, to be open. But see, openness without discernment is not feminine power. It's leakage. Access, when unmanaged, becomes exploitation. So let's be precise. Access is not the same as connection. Access is not intimacy. Access is not kindness. Access is permission, and permission, once given, shapes behavior. Every system, personal, relational, professional, even social, organizes itself around access. Who gets it? How much they get? Under what conditions? And what happens when it's withdrawn? This is why access is the real currency, because people don't move for words, they move for access. Now, here's the critical distinction. Masculine power tends to organize around control of resources. Feminine power organizes control around the control of access. This is ancient. It's biological. It's very structural. And when access is unregulated, the feminine becomes depleted. When access is regulated, everything reorganizes around her. I'll say that again. When access is unregulated, the feminine becomes depleted. And when access is regulated, everything reorganizes around her. And yet, most women give access away prematurely. They give it before trust. They give it before consistency, reciprocity, and before structure. Not because they're naive, but because they were conditioned to confuse access with worthiness. This is where the distortion begins. In the distorted feminine, access is used as a bargaining chip. If I'm understanding enough, I'll be chosen. If I'm available enough, I'll be valued. If I give enough, I'll be safe. But access does not secure safety. Structure does. Let's slow this down. Access has layers. This is the conversational access. That's the first one. The next one is emotional access. After that is energetic. And then there's physical. And then there's decision-making access. Most people don't differentiate the layers, which is why chaos enters so easily. Because chaos doesn't need full access. It only needs partial access. A little emotional labor here, a little mental energy over there, a little availability without commitment. And just so you know, in the feminine blueprint, access is tiered. Not everyone who can speak to you can influence you. Not everyone who can be around you can affect you. Not everyone who receives your warmth is entitled to your depth. Depth is earned. And earned is different from requested. Here's a core teaching most women never receive. Access should follow demonstrated capacity, not potential. Potential is hypothetical. Capacity is proven. And when access is granted based on potential, the feminine overinvests. When access is granted based on capacity, the system stabilizes. This applies everywhere. In relationships, access to emotional intimacy should follow emotional regulation. In work, access to your creativity should follow respect for your time. In family systems, access to your presence should follow accountability. When access precedes structure, chaos enters. Because chaos thrives on free entry. Now, let's talk about why this feels uncomfortable at first. Withholding access is often mislabeled as cold or guarded or selfish. But discernment is not withdrawal, it's flirtation. Flirtation is feminine intelligence. The feminine does not chase, she selects. And selection requires standards. Standards are not demands, they're filters. The moment a woman internalizes that access is currency, her entire posture changes. She stops explaining herself. She stops negotiating her boundaries. She stops offering depth where there is no containment. Containment is the key here. Did you know that? The feminine requires containment to flourish. And without containment, her energy disperses. With containment, her energy magnetizes. Access without containment leads to exhaustion. Access with containment leads to amplification. This is why women who regulate access appear powerful without effort. They're not trying to dominate. They're simply not leaking. And leakage is what keeps many women stuck. Leakage of attention, of empathy, leakage of time, leakage of emotional labor. They give and give and give and wonder why they feel so unseen, undervalued, or resentful. This is not because they gave too much love. It's because they gave unregulated access. Now, let's address the nervous system component. Many women feel unsafe restricting access because their nervous system associates availability with connection, survival wiring, and shit. If connection once depended on pleasing or accommodating or staying emotionally open, then access becomes a safety strategy. But safety built on overexposure is fragile. True safety comes from predictability, boundaries, and consistency. And consistency requires limits. This is why learning to regulate access can feel destabilizing at first. The system is recalibrating. But here's the paradox. When access becomes selective, respect increases. Not because people fear you, but because they feel the structure. Structure communicates value without words. It says, this matters. This is intentional. This is not casual. Casual access creates casual behavior. Intentional access creates reverence. This is especially important in the feminine blueprint because the feminine is inherently influential. Her presence shapes environments. Her energy sets the tone. Her availability impacts outcomes. Which means unmanaged access has exponential cost. Every just this once, or it's fine, or I don't want to make it a big deal. Those are not neutral decisions. Those are access grants. And the system responds accordingly. Now, let's make this practical at the conceptual level. Regulating access does not require confrontation. It requires consistency. What you respond to, what you ignore, what you reinforce, and what you no longer make room for. Access is regulated behaviorally, not verbally. You don't announce that access is limited. You simply stop overextending. You stop filling gaps that aren't yours. You stop carrying emotional weight that others refuse to hold. And over time, the system adjusts. Those who benefit from your access without reciprocity will resist. They will. But those who respect the structure will adapt accordingly. It's like a sorting mechanism, if you will. And sorting is actually not rejection. It's the best part of alignment. The feminine blueprint is not about being difficult. It's about being precise. Precision is kindness to the self. Now, here's the final teaching. And this is important. When a woman understands that access is the real currency, she stops chasing outcomes. She stops forcing clarity, stops trying to be understood, stops trying to prove her value, because she understands something fundamental. People reveal their intentions through how they handle access. Those who respect it demonstrate capacity. Those who exploit it expose themselves. And clarity emerges without confrontation. This is feminine intelligence at its highest level. Not reactive, not performative, not withholding, but sovereign. When access is regulated, the feminine no longer burns herself to keep systems alive. She She becomes the axis around which systems organize. That's the real power, not dominance, not control, but gravitational authority. Because access is the real currency. And once you understand that, everything changes. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me, especially to get stronger in your focus and in spirit. But I don't want you to stop here. Please subscribe, share this message, and join the community of women choosing clarity over chaos. Until next time, beautiful soul, stay anchored, stay aligned, and stay locked in.